Hi there, beautiful souls. Welcome and thank you for watching. I'm Gabrielle, retired medium in Germany, and I like to share some of my otherworldly experiences and insights. So this is about sacred geometry and portals. Well, if you ever looked into sacred geometry and know about the 5 platonic solids, you can find that everywhere in nature and also in the universe. So the first platonic solid is a triangle, an equilateral triangle, usually connected or associated with the color red, and this kind of triangular form or shape is a metaphor for a symbolic flame, which matches also with the color red, and usually the tetrahedron, which is the 3-dimensional form or shape of the triangle. Imagine just kind of a pyramid with 3 faces, although there is a 4th face as well, because the base is the 4th face. So you have a pyramid with 3 faces to the outside and 1 on the bottom side in red, symbolizing a flame and standing metaphorically in the sacred geometry teachings for the element fire, which also is the willpower, as the triangle with its point to the above or upside is kind of a focus point of the willpower. And I said in some other videos that the called or very often depicted red triangular hat of some of the little people, like my Impy that is with me, the half fairy, half imp being from 5th dimension, an elemental being. This hat is not really a hat. It is depicted in fairy books like that, and when I first met Impy, saw it also with my inner eye as a kind of pointy red hat. But then there was a moment when this hat was moving, so then I understood intuitively, oh, it's not a hat. It's his focused flame of willpower or intention of his whole life force. Like the blood is also red, and this is what gives us life. So that's the tetrahedron, symbolizing fire. It has 4 faces and 4 points and 6 edges. The next platonic solid is the octahedron. It is standing for the element air, and it is 2 4-sided pyramids above each other, one with a point to above and the other one with a point below. So the octahedron symbolizes the element air. It has 8 faces and 6 points. The next platonic solid is the hexahedron, or the cube, associated with the element earth and the color green, like for nature. Everything is green, more or less, in nature. It has 6 faces, and if you kind of unpack this form and imagine every face kind of how to say that, kind of flattened out, straight, then you get the form of the cross, because it matches the cross. If you try to build a cube that you cut out from paper, of course you do it like that, like a cross, and then you can roll them in and glue them together to get a cube. So the hexahedron, or the cube, is associated with the element earth, and it has 6 faces and 8 points. The next platonic solid is the icosahedron, which has the color blue and is associated with the element water. Matches. Water is usually blue, or seems to be blue, because it has no color of its own. It's reflecting what is above a blue sky or below dark, maybe ground of a lake or bottom of the sea, sometimes greenish if there's seagrass growing, and very bright and wonderfully blue if there is a bright underground, like bright sand or something like that. So the icosahedron, representing the element water, has 20 faces, and they are all triangular, and 12 points. And the last of the 5 platonic solids is the dodecahedron, which is associated with the color gold, is representing the element ether, which we in modern days now would maybe better phrase or name as plasma. And it has 12 faces in the form of a pentagon, and it has 20 points. And all these platonic solids you can also integrate into a circle or a sphere, three-dimensionally viewed. So imagine that the whole universe is built in sacred geometry, and it is. The tetrahedron, the fire element, is the building block of everything, because you find the tetrahedron also again in the octahedron or in the cube. If you go from every side of the cube to the middle, you get tinier building blocks that are triangles. If you do it with the icosahedron, the same. It has the 20 faces representing the element water, and these 20 faces are triangles. So the dodecahedron, representing ether with the color gold or plasma, has 12 faces in the shape of a pentagon. And with the pentagon you can do the same. If you draw lines from all the points, the edges of the pentagonal form that the 12-faced dodecahedron is built of, you get triangles as well. Even in your own body, just look at your fingers. They have these 3 parts, and they are every one a little bit bigger than the one before. So you find the principle of Trinity, like body, mind, and spirit in your fingers, and they are built with the number pi. It's 1.6 and many other numbers. I'm not good at numbers, but it's nearly half as big as the part before. So this is very interesting. We count with our 10 fingers. The Sumerian people 8,000 years ago, they counted with these 3 parts of the 4 fingers, and by that they could add and multiply easily. So that is a 12-based mathematic, and not what we have today, the 10-based mathematic. And I'm pretty sure, as the dodecahedron has 12 faces, and we have 12 hours in a clock, we have 12 star signs, although there is a 13th, the Ophiuchus, or however, it's a difficult word, the snake or serpent bearer. And even in the Gnostic teachings, there are not only the 12 aeons, not to confuse with eons, it's the aeons, which are entities. There is also the 13th aeon, called Pistis Sophia, and in Greek, Sophia means wisdom. So if you put all of these forms of these platonic solids into a sphere, and every planet is more or less spherical, you get very interesting stuff. If you put the dodecahedron with its 12 faces and 20 points into the shape of the spherical or nearly spherical Earth planet, you can find, if you do it like a transparent overlay over the globe, that all the volcanic undersea ridges and also the volcanic lines on the ground, they match with the outlines of the pentagonal faces of the dodecahedron. And it is known that in the fault lines of the Earth, when there is tectonic activity, the Earth is releasing kind of energy because of the friction of the tectonic plates. And this energy is known as, orbs or plasma balls. And this is kind of a portal, because portals are made of plasma. So on nearly every point of these platonic solids put into the shape of the globe, you find the ley lines, you find ancient sacred sites like Stonehenge or Giza or any other of these sacred monolithic buildings, because the ancients knew about these earth lines where they work like the meridian system from Chinese medicine that flow through our body, and you can put a needle into to stimulate one point where there is a weak energy flow. So the ancients built these monuments, especially like an acupuncture needle on special node points of the grid. And these kind of earth lights, or seen and photographed as kind of orb-like plasma balls that are released along these tectonic fault lines, matching with the lines of the platonic solids put inside the globe. They are portals. That's why on or at very many of the ancient sacred sites there is portal activity, there is UFO activity, because they can use these portals. And we also know that sound, vibration, can open portals as well. So I didn't know that in the beginning, and what happened to me, what I told about in my last video about having a portal with kind of a spiral tunnel opening up in front of my third eye. I was not aware that I was creating that. It just happened to me. Like a lot of the stuff that I'm sharing with you in my videos is just happening to me. I wasn't after that. I wasn't eager to do it. I never took part in a workshop how to open your third eye or how to manifest everything you want, because I'm not after all that kind of stuff. As I learned to master a bit more, at least, my impatience, I stopped running after other people, masters and gurus, and running to workshops and seminars, because I understood slowly, step by step, that there is an invisible blueprint that is kind of in every seed. A tiny seed like that grows to a wonderful tall apple tree, and within this little seed you cannot see anything like that. It's the invisible blueprint, and of course we also have an invisible blueprint that we kind of grow into more and more while doing our life's journey and having experiences and gaining some knowledge and expanding our consciousness. So everything is coming to me and to you in the right divine timing, when we are really ready, not when our ego thinks, oh, I'm ready for this and that, and I want this or I want that, you know. So I trust into that process, and that's how a lot of this happens to me while I was learning and practicing my psychic skills, which I came across after my husband left his body, because I got visions and they became stronger and stronger, and I wanted to know more about that and learn how to handle that. That's why I started a mediumship trainment. And I think I never experienced a Kundalini awakening like other people's describe it. And I was never running after that, or like people talking about the Merkaba, which is kind of just the male and the female energy symbolized in two triangles, one pointing to above and the other to below. And if they are kind of stacked into one each other, they form the star tetrahedron. One is permeating the other. If you imagine that just two-dimensionally, flat and linear, it is the Star of David, but it's got nothing to do with Judaism or the Jews. It's just one of these ancient wisdom or knowledge teachings that is accumulated in sacred geometry and the wisdom about the platonic solids. So, well, I saw the Merkaba in some other people, but it wasn't fully functioning, because I once experienced kind of a triangle above the head of a person, or encompassing head and shoulders, and it was rotating, like every atom is vibrating and rotating and oscillating. And in the end, there are not really particles, because everything is just energy that flows in wave forms and behaves like water. And only if you focus onto something, that was shown in the double slit experiment, you kind of collapse the wave function into particles, and that's how you create matter. So it once happened to me that with some former friends that had a house close to a leyline node point, and they knew that this node point of ley lines was in the garden of the house. So we were close to a leyline node point. And we were just toning and freely improvising with our voices and some musical instruments. And we had a lot of fun, and it raised our energy, and we were all so happy because the harmonies that came out of our different pitches of voice and different tones were just very fulfilling, and they made us happy and blissful, and we were totally super happy after that toning. And the same evening I was channeling in their living room, and without having asked for anything like that, the Elohim suddenly said, "You already opened the portal that you were meant to open much later." And I was stunned. And of course, luckily, some of the others asked why and how. And they said, well, by the sound you produced while toning, and your uplifted hearts and your soul energy kind of starting to radiate more and forming a group and being focused and together just in creating harmonies and wonderful music. By that you united in focus and you created a portal. So that's how I learned that you can also open portals via sound. And there is this wonderful example of Jeff Wills, who went through the Falls stone door, which is the symbol of a portal to, I think, even another galaxy. And he was taught by the local shamans how to tone and use sound to open that portal, and he went in. And you should not go into any portal if some appears in front of you, because if you don't know how to get back again, you might get lost. There's also the story about some group of kids, hippie kids, that made camping in the middle of the Stonehenge circle when it wasn't so fenced off in former years. And there was some lightning happening, and the farmer, who was annoyed by their music and fire and the noise they made, called the police because he wanted to get them out of there. It was on his land, I think. And when they arrived, they just witnessed the lightning, and that the stones of the stone circle and Stonehenge started to glow strangely in some kind of bluish color, and then kind of boom, the whole group of camping kids was gone. So why do you think the ancients built these portals or stone circles on these special leyline points and nodes? To create portals, to have contact with higher consciousness beings, or even to travel through these portals, or receive visitors through the portals. Who knows? They knew much more. They were not the primitive ancestors we are told about. Contrary, they knew much more than we. We are much more dumbed down. So I don't create portals. It just happened to me. And I don't think that there is anything special about me. I'm just like every other human. Only that might be the difference. I'm open and interested in expanding my consciousness, and my guides, the Elohim, always nudge me and ask me to kind of expand and learn new words, look at videos that I myself would never click on, because they are too scientific or whatever, or out of my interest, because they want to expand my consciousness. And just think about the so-called Big Bang. My guides told me that's not the end of the ladder, and it's not really true. The universe did not came to exist into existence by a big bang, an explosion-like event. You know, normally in an explosion, the pieces that are thrown out from the middle of the explosion, the further away they get from the center of the explosion, the slower they are in speed. But scientists tell us that our universe is kind of speeding up in expansion. So our neighbor stars and neighbor galaxies, they are moving away from us faster and faster. So that is contrary to the theory of the Big Bang, an explosion-like event. And there's so much of kind of contradicting stuff that one can get easily confused. So I just wanted to tell you about sacred geometry and about portals. And even in our recent history, especially in England, we have a lot of tales that are sold to us as fairy tales that talk about fairy rings and mushroom rings, that people who entered into a fairy ring without knowing and suddenly fell asleep, and when they woke up and wanted to go back home from their stroll in nature, they came back to their village and no one knew them. 200 years had passed while they were asleep, or others talking about experiences with fairy rings that are kind of portals on special ley line points or node points of the earth grid. They experienced the little people. They were singing in the fairy rings, they heard music, and when they stepped in, they had this time dilution. So portals are not just a funny thing. If you enter, you have to know how to get out. Jerry Wills was lucky when he entered through that door in Peru, that he kind of found himself in a white space, which others also talk about when they had out-of-body experiences, traveled astrally and landed in this kind of white space or the white room, or however you want to call that. It was kind of just everything white, like you are in the mid of white clouds. And he said kind of, hello. And luckily, a voice answered him and guided him back so that he could come back to his wife, waiting outside of the false stone door in Peru, and she had witnessed him disappearing while he was standing in front of that door and toning the special sounds that the shamans taught him. So you might not always be lucky to come back. And there is also that theory of the vile vortices. Just think of the Bermuda Triangle, or the so-called Devil's or Dragon Triangle. There are special points where a lot of people, ships and airplanes disappear because it's a portal region. And you find these vile vortices. A vortice is just like a hurricane, or if you shake your water in your glass, you will find that it forms a vortex. So these vile vortices are always only around the equator above and below at the Tropic of Capricorn. And I think that makes a lot of sense to me, because there's enough proof that especially in these triangular regions, which can form portals, people disappear, ships disappear, and airplanes disappear. So it's no surprise for me that the ancients built their stone circles in the form of a circle, kind of marking the area of the portal, and put their upright stones just around that middle point. And some of the vortices just open naturally when the earth is in activity, and shamans or people with ancient knowledge and wisdom still know how to use these special places on the earth to open up portals and get communication with higher consciousness beings or inner earth or whatever. And there are also portals in all the other planets, even in our sun. That is why on some of these depictions you can see kind of great dark objects the size of our moon or a planet or a big asteroid kind of coming out of the sun. Yes, because the sun also has portals, and this is the interstellar network, because the whole universe is kind of like with the meridian system or the grid and leyline system on Earth, connected to different planets and other locations. And there are portals that only bring you into different times but the same location on Earth. And there are also portals that bring you from one location on the Earth to another location on the Earth, and also some that are kind of intergalactic and can lead you further. But you should never enter into a portal if you don't understand really what the portal technology or the portal knowledge is and how to come back again. So I really want to stress that I'm not opening portals, at least not willingly and consciously. It happened to me, and I just share some of my experience to give you an idea and inspire you what is possible for every one of us. I'm not special in that. It just happened to me. So I'm not running after these experiences. They just happen to me along my way, because I try to live my soul path, my soul journey, and do my best in my normal mundane life. And I did not even want it to be kind of a medium in the beginning. It was quite selfish. I just wanted to communicate with my beloved deceased husband. But that opened up so much more for me. Then I encountered all these other beings from inner earth, the elemental beings, and angels and deceased loved ones, and in the end ETs. So that expanded my horizon quite a lot, because years ago I wasn't even thinking of ETs. And at the age of 20, I didn't believe in anything. Didn't believe in Source or the Bible or whatever, or even angels, because I was, I was young and stupid. And luckily I have grown, and there is nothing to adore about me. I mean, it's nice if some of you in the comments just say that, oh, you have all these wonderful experiences, or I adore you. Yeah, that's kind of nice, but you should never give away your power to anyone else. even Source does not want to be adored. And that was kind of the ego trap the Anunnaki fell into. They were just a little bit higher evolved or advanced than the humans they met at that time on the earth. And the humans fell for them, adored them, created a cult around them, formed a group, a religion, and then it went all kind of astray because it's Source in everything that is. If you only see the divine in your monotheistic God, then you're forgetting about what animism and shamanism, kind of the most early prime forms of religion, already knew that everything is animated by Source. So the tree has a soul, a spirit, the blade of grass, the animal. And I think they were, well, I was taught in school animism and shamanism is kind of underdeveloped and primitive, and monotheism is the one thing, and even polytheism, like in Hinduism, many gods, is kind of the wrong way. Yeah, that's what I was taught in school, but now I think so differently about that. I think shamanism is more close to the truth and animism than our constructed and redacted and manipulated religions. It's about Source, all that is, in everything that is. And it's in you as well, because we have in our soul a divine spark with the whole potential of Source. We are children of the light, not we in our egos, personas, or character masks, but the inner self, the true self, what we really are. That is much more than this body vessel. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. And I hope you get inspired to maybe expand your consciousness, your horizon, your viewpoint, your thoughts about sacred geometry and portals. And know that you don't have to run after anything and book a workshop about how to open your third eye. All this kind of theater in YouTube to me just seems like a spiritual marketplace. And as I have worked as a graphic designer in advertisement, I know that they are creating trends and then everybody is running after it and want that and want this and even pay a lot of money for that. And some people are so eager to open their third eye, and it's not working. They're doing all the exercises since 10 months, and of course they get frustrated. Maybe it's not your time yet. So you cannot force it. You cannot force or storm the kingdom of heaven. Just allow yourself to grow in your time, your speed, and everything will come to you. In divine timing, it's all there. It's within the blueprint that we all have on soul level. So there's nothing that you can miss out, or and also nothing that you can force before it's your time. Just know this and be happy, live your life. Try to stay in a blissful and happy state so that your vibration is high. And that's all. That's the best you can do. And everything else is given to you, like the plant knows how to grow. Even the Fibonacci numbers that form the golden ratio, the golden, how is it called? The golden ratio or the golden mean. That spiral, kind of spiral of life, that the shells are growing by. That also works in our body. I showed you these 3 parts. And even if you go into palmistry, they have the knowledge about not only body, mind, and spirit, but also about the three worlds. You know, the middle world of our existence, the so-called underworld, and the upper world. So it's all built within us, not only in your fingers there is sacred geometry, it's also the whole blueprint of your beingness. So there is nothing to worry, nothing to run after, only to allow and open up and live your life as happily as you can. So the faster and easier all that of the activated potential can come to you. If you strive too much for something and stress it too much, you're kind of even pushing it away magnetically. And I would like to end with a lovely saying that I really like. It's the grass does not grow faster even if you pull on it. And we will not grow faster even if we push and force something. It's kind of all in the blueprint, and it will come to you when you're really ready in the right divine timing, and will open up as a potential. And maybe it happens to you like it happened to me, that suddenly you feel energy, then you start seeing colors, because energy of its quality is perceived with the colors that are the main colors of our color circle, and that are also represented in the platonic solids with the colors associated to the elements: fire, air, earth, water, and ether or plasma. So that's it for today. Now I really end. Thank you very much for spending time with me and listening to me. And I hope you get inspired by it, and also a relief that you don't have to force anything, because it's all prepared and waiting for you and will come to you in the right timing. So blessings, love and light to you, beautiful souls, on your soul path. Bye.